occasionally during this thing, like the tape will roll out, or I'll have to get a new battery. So
It's all good,
I'll
man.
stop even.
We got all day here.
Yeah.
It's actually like I didn't even want to go to the tournament to be honest, just
Yeah.
because like Saturday is like my day off sandwiched in between my work days
Yeah.
because I work like Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, and some like randomly on Tuesdays, but like not often. So like when I go to a tournament, it's like unless it's like something big that like I feel like I'm gonna miss out if I go to,
Yeah.
it's just like oh man, like I have to dedicate my whole day to this. Like
Yeah.
do I really want to do it? And like once I'm there, I'm usually like all right, it's worth it. But like the whole process, it's like almost going to work at this point. Like it's like getting up, like oh man, like I could go back to sleep right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
very tempting.
Yeah, I really should be going to tournaments, but I mean, I honestly made an attempt to try to get a ride today from three people, but just I'm just not like in a good spot to get picked up from those people.
Yeah. You've lived in Port Chester all your life, right?
Yes, 24 years. I was born in Greenwich, Connecticut, just the hospital, but I was lived in this house my whole life.
Nice.
It's crazy.
And where did you get your name, nom de plume? Your
Oh, well, I used to have in high school, I had a group of friends. We used to skateboard, and there was two Chris's, and posed an immediate problem. So we had to think of something, and I was just I don't know, Portchester Chris, but like PC just stuck, PC Chris, and eventually it led into Smashboards because when I made a gamer tag, I was just like, well, I don't want to be like Dark Evil Prince 955. Like I'll just be PC Chris.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, there are a lot of like morgue and like
Yeah.
Doomstar.
Yeah, well, like I feel bad because some people create the tag when they're younger, and like I mean, when I was young, I had some crazy screen names on AOL, like just embarrassing stuff. But like as you get older, you realize you don't want that like name to like stick to you. Like I'm sorry, Doctor PP, but like our today's winner is Doctor PP. Like, come on.
That's awesome. Yeah, and there are moments here that I'm going to want to laugh out loud, and I'm going to have to stop myself
Okay.
because I don't want it to be on the track.
A word.
So I will laugh along as best I can. But yes, you're absolutely right. I had Humdinger Hodo at yahoo.com for the longest time. No one ever is gonna forget that. But,
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like who would want to remember us?
It's funny.
I'll wait till the phone guy. Try my cell phone here.
Yeah. Put it on.
Vibrato.
Yeah.
Cool, and you can just look at me and don't worry about the camera.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess we could start at the very beginning. Like, what was it like growing up in Fort Chester, and
Honestly, I had a great childhood. Probably like the storybook childhood where I have a big backyard. I was the youngest child. I have an older brother and an older sister. Both of them are married now. A lot more successful than me at the point, but we grew up, and I always had somebody to play with, and just to have a yard as a kid is pretty immaculate. But when I went to school, stayed in Portchester. I didn't go to any private schools. I only went to the Portchester public schools. So I kind of went through our own school system. And honestly, I love Portchester. Like some people say it's just like a little town, but I mean, I've lived here 24 years and I really haven't had a problem with it. There's so many different like backgrounds here. You can be in one area and then you're just like encountered with like all Hispanic restaurants and Hispanic people, and you'll go into a store and like you'll be like all Hispanic products, but then you walk like two more blocks and then like there's a heavily like Italian influence. So it's like it's cool like that. Like I like a little diversity. I wouldn't want to live like somewhere where it's just plain, where because like I can't live there for 24 years, it'd get boring.
would you say it's like as a town, and it's on the water, right? It's like
Yeah, we're right on the Sound, right next to the Long Island Sound, and I never really ventured out to the water. Rye Playland's pretty famous. It was in a couple movies. It's the town right next to Portchester, and they have a beach there. But I mean, as you can tell, like, I'm not hitting that beach up that much. So, um, there, I don't know, like the water really never influenced my childhood that much. Like I had a pool, that's as much as it influenced me.
with yeah, I guess it is like a small town. As soon as you're gonna go to you're going to Brooklyn, right? Or
Bronx.
Bronx,
Yeah.
right? Um, looking back on kind of like this as your hometown, what kind of thoughts do you have about the town?
I actually have a lot of pride for Portchester. I mean, it's in my tag, so I guess that's kind of a no-brainer. But I mean, I'm proud of where I always grew up. I like all the friends I've met here, and although I feel like it's time for me to move on from this place, I just like I'm always gonna feel like Portchester has built like a very solid foundation for me to advance like the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Whereas like if I lived somewhere where I was just kind of like less populated and I just I'm not dealing with all these elements that I do over here, so I'm just not I wouldn't be if moving to the Bronx would probably be a lot bigger of an issue at that point. Like I feel like I can handle it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then you went to like public school and stuff like that.
Yeah, I went to King Street Elementary School and then Portchester Middle School and then eventually Portchester High School. Graduated, took a couple of years off, doing my smash thing, stacking that paper. And then eventually I went to Westchester Community College, which is in Valhalla, New York. I attended there for 3 semesters, a liberal arts major. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, kind of like a lot of people, but I didn't end up finishing just because I was just going to take classes. Like it was nothing that I signed up for was really like it didn't really like I was just going and I was paying myself, so I'm like I'm just gonna work, save up money, and when I find out what I really want to do, like I'll go back. Like I'm really not in a rush because I see people who like graduate and they're like in trouble with loans, and like right now it's just a scary thought. So like I'd rather just once I have like a solid idea, like I'll pursue it. But like I don't want to really like mess around and like waste my money and my time, even though like it's for a good cause. But maybe I want to do it right.
When you were kind of growing up in school and stuff like that, when would you describe yourself as a good student?
Yeah, I was on the honor roll like pretty much throughout my whole like young schooling. um, Towards high school, maybe I fell off a little bit, but like by that point, I was already traveling to tournaments, and as bad as it sounds, school wasn't a priority for me at the time. Whereas like when I was younger, my my parents were a lot more strict with like making sure like had good grades, but like once they saw that I was getting the work done and that like I was passing, they kind of were a little more lenient in high school, especially when they started seeing that I was winning tournaments. So they would allow me to fly everywhere, and as a result, like my grades suffered like my senior and junior year. By then like I already got accepted to a couple colleges, so
Nice, nice.
yeah.
Were your parents like? I know you said earlier your dad was like kind of played some games with you. Did they get you into video games, or did your dad get you?
I was been playing video games as far back as I remember. Like I grew up like watching my brother play Atari and like the original Nintendo. He would always kind of like give me the controller that was unplugged. And I was like 2 or 3 years old, so like I thought I was just like beating everything. I thought this is where the confidence comes from, I guess. But little did I know I wasn't even playing. But eventually, I got old enough to realize, and I started playing video games myself. And I mean, as far as back as I can remember, I would try to get every system that came out, like anyone that was like kind of relevant at the time. I would try to buy it, try to buy the popular games. I was like a huge into games like when I was younger. Now, not so much anymore. Just like one specific one. The rest kind of died down.
Yeah, what was your first fighting game?
Um, this is kind of funny. My dad, and my brother used to play Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo. Like, I used to get home from school, my dad would already be playing, and I'd like hop on. He just like, scrape me, and then my brother would hop on. Like we were so young, and he was just better than us. Like, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I was young, so it was just funny to think back that like my dad used to beat me in these games. But like I'm still awaiting like a rematch one day.
Yeah, the only way you could legally beat your kids.
You got away with it.
Did I mean like what's your dad like as a guy as a father?
He's actually he works a lot. He's always at work. He it's kind of my mom and my dad are kind of the opposite, and it kind of explains where I get my personality from. Because my dad is more of like a silent type. He's more like a serious, stern person. But when I was younger, like my dad would never like he would almost let me do anything I wanted to do, and I would never ask anything ridiculous. But like when I was younger, like, can I sleep over at my friend's house? Sure. Whereas my mom would be like a little more hesitant. So like I was like, yeah, my dad's awesome. Like he's the man. But like as I grew older, I realized like talking with my mom more that I get my sense of humor from her because she's always joking around a little bit more, like talking more. So it's just funny how it works, And I like you can see it in your whole family. Like I see it in my brother and my sister, and it's just funny to kind of guess where you got what from.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Is your like what does your dad do kind of for fun?
Um, he he likes to play poker a lot. Right now, he's at the casino at Foxwoods, and he also follows sports. Probably where I get that from. So just like it's not kind of like the typical dad. Goes to work, comes home, and watches Sports Center. Actually, that sounds a lot like my life right now. But yeah.
Nice. Did you how? I mean, who would you say I guess has the in your family like the biggest influence on you? I guess. Um, I know you said you could definitely see where your personality comes from
hmm
looking at both your mom and your dad.
So
Um,
I see more of myself in my dad, honestly, just because I feel like he's just very I mean, everybody gets angry at time, but for the most part, he just always seems like to be calm, and that's one of the most important traits I feel like that I have. Like, n- if something bad is happening to me, like I always just like I don't even try to panic. I just try to think like, what can I do? Because like I don't have time to panic. So I think, and also I look a lot like my dad too. Like he has a lot of hair, and so that's where I get that thing from. And so hopefully I don't go bald either. It's looking good right now.
what? Because I know you are somewhat known for your hair. In the Smash community, at least, you have a.
Yeah, I got a haircut the other day. Sorry for all the long hair fans. But when I was younger, I just in high school, like I would just never get my hair cut. It'd be like down here, all over my face. It was messy. Looking back, I don't know why I did it, but everybody says that to themselves. So eventually, like I kind of rock this shorter haircut now, especially with a job that I'm dealing with food. Can't be like spraying hair everywhere. People get upset about that. So yeah, I'm gonna be rocking the short hair from now on. Sorry.
Nice, nice. With when you did start to kind of play games, was there a moment when you were like Was it um, just a random kind of when you realized that you were actually good, or like were you beating your brothers or your brother as you were
Um,
playing?
I mean, I just felt like when that started to happen, I always jump around to hobbies like, for like especially when I was younger for 10 days. So like, yeah, I'm going to be like a BMX superstar, and then like the next 10 days would be like I want to play basketball, and then like 2 minutes later, because like I realized I'm terrible at basketball, it was something else. But I just felt like I put a lot of time into a lot of different things, and I feel like that helps because you learn a little from this, you learn a little bit from that. And I feel like that was the only reason why when I was younger that was the only reason why I felt like I was better than my brother, because at the time like he was playing more games than I was, because like I was younger. Obviously like he would get all the games and he'd buy them with his own money, so he'd play them and I'd watch. But I don't know. Like for a while, my dad and my brother would always, be beating me. Like my dad was pretty awesome at GoldenEye. I remember like even my friends in middle school would come over and we'd be playing. My dad would just hop on and like go on like these killing streaks. Kind of embarrassing.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, he's awesome at Mario Kart too for Super Nintendo. That was his jam back in the day. He loved that game.
Dude, that's so funny. My dad is the same way. Like that was the game. Like it was like you know, me and my brother and my dad would all play Mario Kart.
It was, yeah. That's how we were too. We had a couple of like Street Fighter, like I said, but Mario Kart was definitely the best because like it's so easy for anyone to like enjoy that game. It's
Yeah.
just like, especially back in the day, it was like ahead of its time.
Yeah, another game where you can play as or choose any one of these Nintendo, all
Yeah.
stars to play as.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I don't even really consider myself a huge Nintendo fan, but like when Smash first came out, like they tried to advertise it as like use your favorite like Nintendo character, but I don't even see it that way. Like I just see it as this awesome game now. It's kind of weird because like I'm just so used to these characters. Like I don't know. They
Yeah,
seem standard to me, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when you were, did you play like Mario and stuff when you were a kid? I guess you had the Nintendo.
Yeah, Mario, Zelda, Kirby, all those kind of games, Castlevania. Yeah, I don't think I beat that game. My dad would play Metroid a lot, the original Metroid. I remember like I was too scared to play, like I had to watch, but like like these are some of my first memories like that I can go far back so I can remember, and like some of them are probably memories of video games, and I don't know if that's sad or not, but like I look at it as like if I can remember it, then it's probably worth remembering. Like if I can't remember anything else.
No, it was that important to you.
Yeah,
It shaped your, who you are.
definitely.
Get you a little more right here. There we go. Light likes you. Perfect. Um, as far as like, you know, types of games, was there like a certain genre that you got to notice you liked first, or was there?
RPGs like when I was younger, just because I think like I accidentally rented Super Mario RPG, and I didn't really understand what an RPG was. I expected it to be a Mario game, like just another side-scrolling game, but like it was different, and like I fell in love with it like immediately. But like I was so young, I didn't know like it was a genre of gaming. So like I was like, wow.
Sorry. First battery. This one was dying off anyway, so do this really quick. Back in action.
So yeah, like I didn't know what genre it was. Like I didn't know it was an RPG. I just saw it as a game, like a video game, because that's how you are as a kid. And it took me like another 3 years to finally find another RPG successfully. And I rented probably the worst game ever, Quest 64, for Nintendo 64, and that was like my first like RPG, and then after that, like I figured out it was an RPG, so I was like, let's find some good ones. And I got into all the Final Fantasies and like, so that was my first big genre. But eventually, I just like, I'm putting so much time into these games, and like all I'm seeing is a story. Like I want to play like versus somebody, and I I first got into like try to get into Capcom versus SNK and those types of games, like the Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So like I tried to get into those games, but like I didn't know what I was doing at all, and also my friends didn't want to play those games, so like I wanted to play somebody else, and I was just playing myself. So that didn't last long. And then eventually we found Smash, and I can safely say that like fighters are definitely now my favorite genre of gaming, because after Smash I tried to jump into Street Fighter 4, and not that I was great, but I felt like I was pretty average, and it was I felt like Smash gives you a pretty good understanding of like what's going on in other games, even if you're like don't really know what you're doing at first. You like you can see what you want to do. You just have to learn everything. So fighting games are where it's at, because I feel like you can pick it up anytime, play however long you want, put it down. Whereas like if you're playing like an online like multiplayer like one of those games, I don't even know what it's called, like MMORPG, whatever it's called, but you have to. I think those games are amazing. I can see why people get addicted to it, because they're so fun. But it's hard to invest that time, and especially the older you get, the more responsibilities you're getting. Eventually, you get left behind people who you're playing with, and then it's just not fun at all. So, I feel like at my age, like I'll be into fighting games for a while, because I can easily just like my friend Tom, who lives right next door. Like I got home from work last night at 11, and most people would be like, "Well, like I mean, it's nothing to do, whatever." But like he lives right next door, so he just can come over, and he had work the next morning, like really early, but since he lives next door, we just played Smash for like only like an hour strictly, like just an hour, and stopped. And like that's what's great about it, because I mean, other games you're not going to want to do that. Like I didn't want to stop playing, but like yeah, whatever, like I'll play tomorrow.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because like I play games like Civilization, and that's you get invested in it, and you feel like you're at a certain point,
Mhm.
and it's not a game where you can just stop playing and then come
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah. My friend played WoW and like invested a lot of time into it, and leveled up so many characters to like the max level, and tried to sell the account, and like it didn't even work or something. And I'm just like thinking like, I mean, it's not a waste of time, because I'm sure he had fun. And the way we were talking about it, like, yeah, he's like, but if I'm going out, I'm spending so and so money, so like I'm having fun for like a cheaper price. So like I can see both sides of the arguments, but I don't know.
No,
It's just too much time for me. My that's just my personal taste, I guess.
totally.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said for that face to face, like console
Oh,
systems and stuff.
oh, yeah, definitely. Like when you're when you're interacting with people all the time, like I like just to practice the game, not even at a tournament, like just to practice, like we have to like potentially meet new people, or like hang out with some people that we don't necessarily hang out all the time. So you're building like relationships all the time, like networking, even though you might not even think so. You're like, oh, I'm just playing Smash. But whereas if you're playing an online game, although it's like really convenient and awesome, like I wish Smash was online, because it has its pros and its cons, but you're not getting that same face to face, like I don't know. It doesn't feel. You know it feels fake. Like it's fake.
Yeah.
Shout outs to OTG.
But the Smash or Brawl is online.
Yeah.
Do you think that's had kind of an effect on like the type of players that come to tournaments? Or?
Yeah, I think that has to do with it. Also, that just like the the game is just seems to appeal a younger crowd too. So I think it's both of those things. But I mean, you kind of want your game to be online because not everyone is lucky enough to live in like a populated, like densely populated city where they have access to playing like many people, like players, like on a daily basis almost. Some people like live in like Minnesota or some place where they have to travel like 8 hours or something. So for them, I wish we had something because then I think a lot of people we'd have a lot more representation from other states rather than just like New York, Cali, like Florida, things like that. It would get interesting, but at the same point, like I love the Smash community because over like this 10-year period, we kind of like shaped ourselves because of all the work we put into the community itself. And if it was all online, and like it wouldn't be the same. I mean, not to say it would be worse, but it just wouldn't be the same. You kind of get like you almost get these like inside jokes and like memes and like build these relationships from these tournaments and Smash Fest with people, and like also you build like your region gets like stronger together. Like New York players, sometimes a lot like G Money will bring like a car down of people from New York City to my place, and like some people from New Jersey will come up. So we'll have like New Jersey, New York City, we'll have Westchester County, and we'll have like a bunch of players where normally like we wouldn't be all hanging out, and then when we go to the nationals, like we're all rooting for each other, like, and that stuff helps. Like,
Yeah.
it's cool to be like a part of a big crew, and to think like if it was mostly online, like when we get at the tournament, like is that guy who like is he gonna cheer for me? He's gonna have my back? Like you don't really know. So it's just always better to build like a relationship rather than just have like access to playing anybody. I feel like I think I'd still take that over like access to play anybody online at any time.
Yeah. And you've said before like you've made like lots of friends through Smash, right? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
or games in general.
Yeah, Julian Heller, aka Mofo in the Smash community. I met him probably in 2004, really early on in my Smash career, and he lived like 45 minutes north of me at the time, so I would never run into him if it wasn't for Melee. Like I went to his house to play Melee because like I knew people said he was really good. So just like I'm trying to think, like he's one of my closest friends now, and if this game didn't come out, like would I have even met him? Like, and it goes for a couple other of my friends too. Like I met my other friend Rob from playing Smash like right when I picked it up, when I was like trying to learn the game. Like I was like, okay, this game's awesome. Let me try to like learn the advanced tactics. And I had no idea what I was doing, but like I had so much like interest in the game, so it didn't even matter. And he was in town, and somehow like he knew one of my friends who was like, oh yeah, my friend's getting into that game, and like he came over with this kid, and now I'm like best friends with him too. So it just is weird how it works. But like back to the online thing, like I might have like two less friends right now, so I kind of prefer it this way.
And you're always meeting new people from other places too when you get together.
Yeah, it's kind of like branches out everywhere. You meet this one person in the Melee community, they introduce you to so and so, and then like, especially like over this long like 8-year career that I've had, like it branches all over the place. It's like a crazy blossom tree right now.
With back to like a little before your Smash career began, you were into skateboarding, and another one of your passions.
Yeah, there was probably a 4-year period where I was just really trying to skateboard. Like when I was younger, it was more about like sports, and once I got into middle school, towards the end of middle school, I really got into skateboarding with my friend Nick. So we'd all be skateboarding at the same time after school. It was all I did for about basically 4 years, like as a hobby. And then eventually I really broke my thumb terribly badly to the point where like it broke in 3 spots and the growth spot. So like it's shorter than my other thumb, and it's kind of disgusting to be honest. But So after that, I feel like I never like I skated for another year and a half. But eventually, my group of friends who were skating, like some of them quit, some of them went on to do other things, some of them graduated like high school, some of them moved. So like eventually, our little skateboarding group fell apart, and like I stopped too, because like Smash, if I didn't have friends to play with, like I probably wouldn't be doing it because it's about fun more so than just the sport itself. For me, it was more about just having a great time with my friends, and skateboarding happened to be that for me at the time. But like even to this day, like I'll follow skateboarding a little bit. Like I'll go on YouTube and like type in like skaters that I used to like kind of admire when I was younger and see like what they're doing now, and it's I kind of compare it to Smash. Like I'm like wow, like back when I was watching, like the stuff that's like they're doing now is like way crazier. Like so it's just funny how it works. Like everything evolves constantly.
Yeah. When you when you broke your thumb in 3 places, was that? I mean, did you keep on breaking the same thumb, or was it like?
It was I fell while like downstairs and I tried to like break my fall, and the thumb got tucked down behind my hand like this and broke like on my knuckle, the second part, and like also like in a part over here. So, and like I'll show you right now. You can see how like if I line up the knuckles, that one's like clearly shorter.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so like it stopped growing,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I until then I never really injured myself, so that was kind of like honestly like I didn't. I probably could have took the injury way better than I did, but it kind of like scared me because I never hurt myself, and like I was in a cast, and it was in my right hand, so I couldn't like write in school for a while. So like it was really just like kind of shocked me because like when you're that age and you don't get hurt for a while, like you're like, oh, nothing can hurt me, like I'm invincible. That's basically how I felt at the time because I'd fall constantly because I wasn't that great when I first started. Like you fall all the time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, well, I'm not getting hurt, so I'm not really scared. Like I didn't wear pads, of course. I'm sorry. Like sorry I'm a bad example, but they're so uncomfortable. You can't even like even do a trick in them. You feel like you're just like tied down. But I got yeah. Once I got injured really badly, kind of made me think twice when I came back. Like especially going through high school. Like I didn't get injured again, not seriously at least, but definitely it kept it in the back of my head. So
Was was that a real community, like a skater kind of thing? Like, was there like things that you shared with?
kind of like the thing is, like we had people from White Plains that also skated, and we'd meet up with them on the weekends and kind of like go to different spots, kind of like skate different places, and then like we'd head back to Portchester. But it's nothing like as big as like Smash, where like a bunch of people would meet up or anything like that. But it on a smaller, it's just like Smash on a smaller scale. Basically, it branched me out to a few new people that I met. Got to go to new places that I never would have seen, eat new places. So, like I just love experiencing new things because I mean I don't know.
Yeah.
You're always gonna have like a story, something new. It's just exciting, I guess.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true. When did you pick up Smash?
Had to be very late middle school, early high school. It was kind of like skateboarding would peak and then would decline, and that's when the Smash thing started to increase. I guess like I got tired of falling, so I was like, let's just play Smash. And yeah, it was with my high school friend. We'd after school just like most kids like that age, they would just like go home, like kind of play video games, hang out, watch TV, get something to eat. And eventually like we just kept playing Smash instead of playing other games because like we enjoyed it that much. And just like everybody else, we played with items on, like on crazy stages. We didn't know like what we were doing really, but we were having fun, and that's all that mattered. So we just kept playing, and I remember the day that I wanted to get better because I was just for the whole day I was like, okay, I'm gonna beat my friend because at the time I just could not beat him one versus one. Like every time he'd beat me, and I was like, I'm really gonna think like hard on how I could beat him, and like I'd get close sometimes, but he'd always get around. Like he'd always beat me. So eventually I was like, well, maybe there's like videos of really good players. Maybe we're doing something wrong. I searched Google, Yahoo or Google for Smash stuff, and I eventually found Smash boards, and that's where everything started happening. At that point, like I was playing the game for like 6 months. I didn't know what I was doing. Like I knew like the instruction manual basics, like the move sets they teach you, but like when it comes to advanced tactics, I haven't even like began to like even attempt to learn anything yet. And once I went to Smashboards, we found tournaments, Smash Fest, like forums on advanced tactics with videos and stuff, and like how to get better. So that's definitely the turning point. And I had to say I found Smashboards probably in my like freshman or sophomore year in high school. So yeah, that's where it all began. I mean, me and my friends created the game, obviously.
You went like you used it to like like meet up with people and stuff, right?
What?
Boards to like
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. There's some people who just are at work and they can't use their phones, and because most people like, just text now, but like, there's some people who are at like a computer desk job and they can easily post on Smashboards, but they can't access their phones easy. So like it's still used, but not to the extent with Facebook now. Like Facebook, like you get invites to tournaments now. It's kind of crazy. Like it never used to be like that. You'd have to find the tournaments online, like search them up. So I feel like Smashboard's kind of slowly dying down, and like there's not a lot of insightful posts anymore. Like people are just kind of like hanging out there, which is fine. I mean, we need a place like that, so we might as well use Smashboards for it. But yeah, I don't really think back in the day, like when I'm learning like all these things, there was so much information there. But once you reach a certain like level, there's only so much more you can learn. So you can't really get that from Smashboards. That's mostly going to come from experience. Although like there are some like specific questions you can always ask on Smashboards, and I'm sure somebody will answer. Like in that like circumstance, it's really good
Yeah.
to get like specific like frame data knowledge or stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you can't hit up Mewtwo King, you can call up Smashboards.
Yeah, did you like go into the community like when did you find out that like this guy Ken's pretty good or
Yeah, at the time it was when Ken was first coming like around. He didn't even come to the East Coast yet at this point. And the thing was back then they didn't have videos of him. You had to pay for a DVD of this tournament and they'd send you a DVD and it had all the tournament matches. It was like $10. But like I got that, and like yeah, he was I couldn't even understand like what he was doing because it was just like his character was moving so fast. Like, I just didn't know how it was possible. But I didn't even try to aim for him because I was like, this guy's too good. I looked for like somebody more local, somebody I could play with, and Wes from DA was the first person that like I really saw who was really good like in New York and still did well like out of state. So like I kind of tried to like model myself after him as a player, and him and Ken are probably the two people that stuck out at first to me, like my influences, and definitely Isaiah. There are even some older people that are probably people that I'm not can even remember their names. There's a Chic player, Reciferous.
yeah.
I think his name is Jeremy. He was from I think California, and he was also very good at the time. He would be someone that I would love to watch when I went back then. I felt like I learned a lot from watching. But those are the most of the people that's like come in my head right away.
Sultan of Samitude.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember him. He's a Falco player. Um, I didn't really watch as many videos of him because Da Dave, he was the Falco, like he was the East Coast Falco, so I'd always, try to keep it local, look up to him. But yeah, I definitely know him. He's another old one.
It's so funny. I cannot find pictures of either Reciferous or Salt Sam Tooth online.
Hmm.
Like no pictures.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you can contact him. Have you got?
I haven't actually sent out a whole thing. Man, I tracked down the original John.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's an Arkansas player.
That's amazing.
And so I'm gonna go interview him, the original John.
That's amazing. No jobs.
You can't get into any tournaments. No Johns allowed.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what was it about Reciferous? Do you remember like?
He just had like he played Sheik, and it just seemed like he had this. He just seemed ahead of every other Sheik. He was doing things differently, and he was winning. So like, I was asking myself like, well, he must be doing something better if he's winning, even though it's different. Like it has to be better. So it just stuck in my head. His Sheik at the time, there wasn't many advanced tactics, but his seemed to move around like very fluid, like very fast, very quick, and it just seemed like a lot of fun to play like that. And that's one of the reasons why I was like very big into watching him, even though there was very few videos at the time. It's not like instantly on YouTube like it is today. Back then, there wasn't even a YouTube. I don't even know how videos went around. I think the Direct Connect hub, yeah, the DC plus plus hub. That's how we got like videos around, and it was also like a pretty beast chat going on in there too. It was kind of like another Smashboards, because there'd be like 40 or 30 players just logged in sharing files, but then you can also chat, so there'd be some like insightful chat or half the time and joking around, but it was a fun time.
Was there a lot of trash talk born there, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, there's trash talk everywhere. Half the people are like joking when they say it, half the people are serious, but like, I don't know. I didn't really deal. At the time, I wasn't very good, so I wasn't doing much trash talking myself. I was just trying to get better.
Did you you looked to Wes? Did you like hang out with him at all?
Yeah, I mean, we started. Me and my group of friends started traveling to like the Deadly Alliance's Smash Fest. They had them like in Queens, I think, maybe Brooklyn. And we went to them, and we did well. Like we were doing well versus them, and they were saying like, "Wow, there's finally competition in New York," and like that was great for all. Like they were saying about all of us too. So like we really got motivated after that. Like there's been a lot of people who like came around and tried to beat these guys, and like DA's just been winning all these New York tournaments. For them to say that, like, I guess was a pretty big deal for us back then. So we got pretty motivated. We hit the lab, and then we started attending New York tournaments, New Jersey tournaments, and I mean Wes and all the DA guys definitely were beating us up for a while, but eventually we climbed the ranks a little more, started showing up in the top three, eventually taking a couple tournaments, and then eventually me and Wes started teaming. So just funny how that works. Like one day I'm looking up to him, trying to like get to his level, and then eventually like I'm there, and then we're teaming. So like it's just cool how it works, and like I honestly think anybody can do it if they put the time and the effort into it. It's just whether or not you really want it bad enough,
Yeah.
and that's what it comes down to. I feel like.
And the big motivation for you a lot was it was so much fun too, right?
Yeah, I mean, the game when you first started was like unbelievably fun, and as you progress, you see yourself getting better, and like you start to understand the game more, and like suddenly like you're following up on these combos that like a day ago like they would just end, and like the game suddenly gets like 20 times better, and like and every day you'd get better, but like eventually you reach almost a peak where you can't really get better just by like practicing. You have to find like leaks in your game. You have to watch videos, see what you're doing wrong. So it's like back then I could play like 24 hours and not get tired of it, but today like I could play like 4 hours, but I'm always taking breaks in between too. So it's funny how that works, I guess. the better you get, the less fun the game gets, I guess. It's kind of sad. I wish I was a scrub still.
Do you think that like that's probably why you kind of pulled back the pedal later on? It was just like not as fun. You'd seen it all.
Not exactly that. I mean, I definitely felt like I think it was 2000. Whenever Brawl came out, I kind of got into Brawl for a little while, and that didn't last very long. And I didn't look to Melee to go back. I just honestly thought I was gonna quit there. I was just like, well, like I had my moment in Melee, like I had fun with it, like I'll still play it, like with my friends, but like it's not gonna be a big part of my life anymore. Then like a year later, I find myself at Apex 2011, and like so it just when you think like you're out, it sucks you back in. But like I'm not ashamed of it at all. Most people try to like hide the fact that they play a video game when they're 24 competitively and they've been playing it for 8 years. And like now it's at the point where I don't even know if I'm like a top player. Like I like to think I am, but with the time I put in and how much I play and how much I could travel, like it's looking like I can only stay in the East Coast, or I'm not going to be traveling to California anymore. So like I'm going to be missing out on a lot of cool stuff. But at the same time, I just feel that oh my god, wait, what were we just talking
about?
Sorry.
No worries, man. That like it's I'm always starting to think about like my next question, like how am I formulating the next question in my head. But I think
it was about like seeing myself. Oh, well, reason why like I kind of stopped playing as much.
Yes, exactly. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I guess you
kind
of.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean that's definitely a part where just like if you want to be good at the game, if you want to be a top player, if you want to like place the money and like do things with the game, it takes an insane amount of time and effort and just like dedication to where some people like I definitely have time in my life for that, but to sandwich that in like my job and like moving out soon and eventually wanting to go back to school, it's just like doesn't take that priority anymore where it used to. And but like I still want to improve, so it's like I'm saying this now, but like a year from now you'll see me in California like at a tournament. So
what could you see yourself continuing to play it like
I mean I placed pretty poorly in my opinion at Apex 2012. I placed last in the bracket. The bracket was a beast bracket. It was stacked, so like anyone who got last in the bracket, that's not necessarily terrible, but to my like to the goals that I set to myself, like that's definitely not how I wanted to happen. I said top 32 and I didn't even like get like a win into the bracket. So like half of me was saying like, oh well, maybe I don't have it anymore, but like the other half's like, give me one more shot at that. So like I'm always trying to improve. I play with a lot of local people. I actually found bus tickets for a Canadian tournament this summer, conveniently when I'm going to be taking off from work because I'm going to go on a vacation. So I'm going to be going up to Canada for a week, and there's going to be like a pretty big Canadian tournament in July. So I'll be there. And that's probably, other than that one, I'm probably only going to stick around from like New York to like maybe the farthest I can go is like Maryland, and the farthest north is Boston. It's probably as far as I can go, like unless I really feel like I want to like try to win a tournament or something and it's worth going to, because I mean right now like it wouldn't be worth for me to fly out to California unless I really wanted to go there for like a vacation or something like that. Like then I'd consider going to a tournament, but like it's not a smart financial move right now for me.
Yeah. It is kind of the shitty situation with Smash too, like right now, is that there's no MLG giving out massive checks.
Yeah. I'm lucky I peaked during the time I did. During the time of big checks and free Red Bull. But Yeah, I mean, the money was definitely nice and it would bring more people out, but I feel like it's just the matter of people just not getting into the game because they judge it so hardly. They look at Smash and they're just like, bleh, like this is just a dumb game, and they'll never even give it a chance. Or when they do give it a chance, they're just like, it's stupid. Like I'm just pressing buttons, and like just like everything else, like you gotta learn it. Like it takes time, and if we had like an MLG, that I would like that because I feel like it would bring in new people and they get interested, especially seeing like the high level play now compared to like me and Ken. Like if they saw like Mango and Armada, like they'd flip out probably because it looks really fun, like a high level play. Like it looks serious. It doesn't look like a kids game anymore. I mean, at least to me. I don't know. Maybe I know the game, but
And that was like a big kind of to do, I guess, is that like the fighting game community at large looking at Smash is not a fighting game and looking at it more like a kiddie game, or whatever, because of the way it looked.
yeah, I mean, it's just like the most illogical thing ever. Like if you like just don't like judge a book off by its cover. Like it's such a simple saying, but it applies so well here. I mean, if you did that for everything, you'd be in a lot of trouble. So you shouldn't just do like with our game just because you don't understand what's going on. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not saying like our game is like better than theirs because we never claim that. We're just saying that like it clearly is a fighting game and it requires like a good amount of thought process and skill and technical skill as well.
yeah,
I feel like it has more technical skill than most fighting games do. Whereas like the thought process is probably the same though.
yeah, yeah. It occupies a unique space. It's like a party game in the sense
Yeah,
because you don't see many fighters with four slots. You
yeah,
know.
that's true. Yeah, it's interesting. Uh, it's definitely like funny how even like four random guys could probably play Smash and enjoy it at the same level that like two top players playing like really great matches are. Like I just feel like it's one of those games that is very well made all around. Like one player, like multiplayer, all the things like way ahead of its time. Like we're still playing it today, like and figuring out new stuff, things like blowing our minds, like that we never thought were possible, and it just it always makes me wonder, like, did they really know like what they were creating? Like I know a lot of these are mistakes, but like how much of it was meant to be in it? Like that's what I always think about.
What is it too? Is that mostly the physics engine?
Yeah,
Um,
the physics engine is absolutely amazing to be honest because like that's why sometimes you just think of like, oh, if I hit them, like, and you really try to apply physics to it, like, if I hit them while they're DIing this way with a weak reverse bear, like, they're gonna be holding in, so they'll probably not travel far, like, and what you think like will work, like what you write, what you do on paper probably will come out in the game unless like the guy has some crazy DI that you did not expect or something. So it's cool in that sense because it's not necessarily like that in other games. Just because like you think like, oh yeah, well this kind of makes sense. Like, would it work here? And like it just like you get obliterated, like it doesn't work at all. So I like that part about Smash because I don't know. It just you can apply like natural, just like you know, you don't have to know about Smash to like kind of like think about that stuff. Like you have to know some things, like their hitboxes a little bit, but whereas like if you're in another game, you're just like kind of like you have to remember like what does what in like certain situations where Smash, it's like you go with the flow a lot more, and it's like still comboing, but like you can be very creative and inventive because of that.
yeah, yeah. And it is amazing too that it's one of those games you can just kind of pick up,
Yeah,
and you can also, like you said, you're still learning stuff.
yeah. It's I it really amazes me. Like I said, like they created the greatest mistake ever when they created Melee. It's just 10 years later, like some people still playing all 10 years, like still trying to learn more stuff. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Um, would, I know that like wave dashing is a great example of like the physics mistake
Yeah.
that helped it kind of move faster.
Yeah.
Um, and there's that whole thing. It's like, oh, as soon as Brawl came out, and you couldn't wave dash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Was that a big thing when Brawl came out, and you couldn't?
Oh, yeah, wave dashing was a little bit, but the thing that the Smashers didn't like was they took out like L canceling, which is when you do a move like an A aerial, and as long as you press L or R like a little bit before you land, it'll cancel like most of the lag of the move. In Brawl, that doesn't happen, so your character just kind of like slower, and like without that and the wave dashing, there's just like little room for like combos, like exciting match play. Whereas it's more like just like who gets hit less. Like, all right, like I hit you there, but you're gonna hit me back, but I'm gonna hit you twice now. None of it's gonna combo. They're just gonna be like random hits. I mean, thought out hits, I guess, not random, but you know what I'm getting.
Like that's the thing that I always enjoy about Melee is the chaining of combos, and it's not like some set like move combo.
Exactly, yeah. It's like sometimes they escape, sometimes they don't, and they're like, whereas like in a 2D fighting, like traditional 2D fighter, like you hit confirm a move, and then you leads into like a big combo, and it's usually the same input every time. But in Smash, like it's not like it's you have to factor in which character you're playing against, what stage you're on, like what DIs your opponent's gonna do. So it makes the combos harder, but in the same sense, like it leaves a lot of rooms for like mix-ups and like just I don't know, like just different things that you would never experience. Like yeah, Smash is honestly amazing because there's so many factors in it. Like there's there's the whole, like you need to get knocked off the stage where normal fighters is just the health bar, and then like you have like a crazy physics system with like advanced tactics to make it really fast. And then you have awesome combos as well. So like you mix that up with all the stages and the characters, and it's just like, well, now I can see why I've been playing this game for 10 years. Like it's pretty crazy. Like it's only gonna get better too.
What was it about Falco? Like, was Falco your original?
I started out as a Ganondorf player because I wanted to pick somebody who had the basics, like a solid character to learn. Like he wasn't very like technical, so he was easy to kind of pick up. But at the same time, I felt like he needed to think to do well because he was just like a little slower. So like I'd be like, all right, well I'll become like a smarter player. And that was like my mindset back then. Like if I play Ganon, I'll become smart. And I played Ganon, and that lasted about a year and a half until I played Isaiah in tournament, and he played Falcon versus me, and I like couldn't even hit him as my Ganondorf. He was just tossing me everywhere. And then the next match, I just like used my secondary, which it was either Fox or Falco at the time. Like I played them both, and I did a lot better. And like I just was like, oh well, maybe my other characters are better. I just don't know. And like I just started working on like all the characters. Like I play every single character now, and like yeah, some of them are bad, but like I invested so many time to all of them to the point like I feel like I know how to use them. Like, but Fox and Falco were my definitely have been my best, probably because they are the best characters. They've been they've been like my strongest two for the last like 7 years probably. Yeah.
Would you say? I mean, you're known as the Falco, I think.
Yeah, I used Falco kind of like I was the first Falco to kind of like start beating Ken and shoot at. So people were like, "Oh man, like what is he doing?" And then a bunch of Falcos who were watching me, like now they're way better than my Falco because like they took what they saw from me and improved it. And they took the bad things out, improved on the better things, and then it's a much better style. But they say like I'm kind of like a Falco pioneer, but I honestly don't even see it that way because in Smash, like you learn something from everybody. Like you don't kind of you don't create this style that's like everything's your own. Like something like you got from that guy. Like I definitely when I first started playing Falco, I was watching a lot of forwards videos because he was definitely seemed like he knew what he was doing. He was doing like the double lasers before everybody was. So I was like, great, I'm watching this guy. Like, stole a lot of stuff from him, borrowed a lot of stuff from him. But eventually, like you learn these things from everybody, and you kind of like mash that into your own little style, and like you get like your own kind of unique style, but it's not unique in the sense that like a lot of it came from other people, but like that's how everything works. Like you got to learn from like the other people. You take something, you try to improve it, and then the next person does the same thing.
It is very true, and actually, there's a saying that what is it? Good artists borrow, great artists steal. And it's like when you were looking at a lot of these other players and stuff. How do you think that translated into your specific like fighting style?
That's a good question.
Like, how would you describe that? Because I know we talked about it earlier. Like Falco is pressure, pressure, pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was hard from going to Ganon to a Fox Falco because suddenly I went from like this kind of like more defensive character to like one that's. I've never really been like a one to shoot lasers much because like I like just being offensive. So it took me a while to get that down, but once you get down like all the like offensive tactics as Fox and Falco, and you're not messing up like simple L cancels and getting shield grabbed and punished really badly for it, you start to have a lot of fun. And like once you get comfortable with them, that's when like once I got like down like the solid basics with them, that's when I looked to the other players, like forward chilling dude for my Fox. Like there were Rob Money is another Falco that comes to mind. Like these guys, like a lot of people probably never heard of them, but like they were ahead of their time when they were playing originally. So as a player, like I looked up to them, trying to kind of manipulate their styles, kind of like when you see like kids in the park trying to like point with the bat, like try to hit a home run. Like it's the same thing. You're just trying to like reenact something, imitate it, try to do it yourself. But like little do you know, like it's really effective, and then suddenly like you're using it all the time. So it's just cool to see it evolve in your own play style.
Yeah, yeah. When you like kind of translated that and we're starting to like really get more in Fox Falco. Were you going to tournaments at that time and like actually like doing money matches and stuff with people? Did you do money matches?
Yeah, I started off money matching with Gannon. Even like I would do $20 money matches versus Wes, and I'd lose them mostly. But like at that time, I couldn't get that experience because like I probably wouldn't play him in tournament. I'd probably lose before I got to him. So that was like the way of getting like that really good like experience where people are like hyping up a match and like it actually means something. It's not a friendly. So I do that a lot, but once I started playing Fox and Falco, I realized I could make money. Like, so I started money matching a lot more people. I know I'm no Korean DJ. He used to have lists of people in a money match and go down the list at tournaments. But I always money match chillin' dude wherever we go. We always seen the money match, whether it be $1 or like 10. It's gonna happen.
Are you friends with Chillin' Dude?
Yeah, it's a funny how that one started because he kind of he hated me and Mofo. Like he would always be like going out of his way to like make fun of us, and like eventually we just got tired of it, so we started making fun of him. So we had like bad blood for a while, but then like eventually he said something like, "Damn, you're awesome. Why am I mean to you?" or something stupid. So like ever since then we've been like really close. Like there's a few people in the East Coast like I can go anywhere with, and like I feel like I've been hanging out with this guy all along. Like even though I only see Chillin' Dude at tournaments, like I could probably hang out with him like anywhere. Like we can go out to like a bar easy. Like it's not like, oh, he's a Smash player. So that's what's cool about that.
Yeah. It's so funny because you guys like met each other when you were really young too.
Yeah, he was younger than I was. He was really young. I think he was like 14 or 15 at the time, and I was like 16 or 17. So like I wasn't that young, but definitely young compared to 24. But we'll not talk about that.
But you weren't 24 at the time.
Yeah, so it's irrelevant.
Well, that's yeah. Like him and Ozin and Shu. Like I guess they're H2YL.
Yeah.
Were you in DA at that point?
Yeah, at one point, like when I first started coming into it, like I said, me and my friends went there, and they're like, "Oh, we have like other competition in New York now," and eventually, like my friends who didn't play as much, like they stopped playing and they stopped coming out with us. So eventually, it was just like our crew almost fell apart. We didn't have a crew anymore. So eventually, I joined DA. But that didn't last too long. It was only like 2 years, I want to say, just because eventually they all stopped playing melee, so I was like the only one, and like it was kind of their crew, so like I didn't want to keep running it, like recruit people. Like I wasn't even about that. I just liked being with them. That's why I joined the crew.
Did Wes stop playing too, or was that?
I mean, he stopped playing for multiple periods of times. Like he stopped for a year or two, and then he played Brawl, and then stopped, and now he's like getting back into it. But I feel like he's just doing it strictly as a hobby. I mean, I don't know if he really wants to put in the time to get better. Like to be a top player, he definitely wants to get better. Like me and my friends say all the time, like we're competitive, we want to get better, but we're realistic in the sense that we know we're not going to be flying around like playing Armada in the grand finals every tournament. Like that's just unrealistic. But like yeah, maybe one tournament I'll get to a grand finals, but like I don't know. So I hope Wes just has like a realistic attitude, because it takes a lot of, everybody's good right now. So like if you really want to be placing well, you have to put in the time. Like there's no shortcuts anymore.
Yeah, yeah, very true. I'm trying to think here. I want to start talking about like as you start getting into more tournaments and winning them and stuff like that. Do you want to maybe take a smoke break?
Sure, that'd be great.
Cool. Get the chance to refill your tea.
Yeah, awesome.